And the debut of this young man from the Gold Coast via the Broncos into the New Zealand Warriors, although he hasn't been in New Zealand yet since he's joined the Warriors. Jimmy, do you think Reece Walsh should have been picked for the Maroons?
Yes, I do, actually. I think he's the best option available for Queensland at the moment. Obviously, they've got some injuries in the outside backs, and I think for this young lad, given this opportunity, I don't think he understands the meaning of the word pressure. He's a father already at 18. He's dealt with a club legend, Golden Boot winner, Dally M winner in Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, moving to the wing. So for me, in terms of the pressure, the build-up, whatever will happen with the result will be. But I think this kid can play, and I think he deserves his opportunity.
Is there a risk, though, as far as if it backfires, about the scars that can leave? You were 20 when you first played for the Kiwis.
Yeah, 20, but I think when you're first coming through, you haven't experienced those ups and downs, so there's no pressure on you. But then when you do experience them, you just have no fear of failure. And this kid reminds me of that feeling of you're just not scared to fail. And if you do fail, you just pick yourself up the next day and you try it again.
Can I just tell you a story? It's about a guy, and I'm not comparing Reece Walsh to Darren Lockyer, but I remember being at a pub in Sydney having a meal, watching Darren Lockyer make his debut for the Kangaroos back in 1998.
Yeah, it was awful.
It was awful. It was in New Zealand. I think, was Bozo the coach? He might have been, still in charge, right? And so Darren Lockyer has the worst game you could possibly imagine. Now, I'm at Bears training. On the Sunday, we are flying up to play the Broncos at ANZ Stadium. And one of our tactics was to go after Lockyer because his confidence will be destroyed after what we saw on Friday night. The Broncos won 60 points to 6 and Darren Lockyer was man of the match.
Yeah. But
young blokes can rebound quick.
They can, but I'll tell you, we do forget the ones that didn't rebound over the years. There have been players that have played Origin and had a pretty poor performance and not come back. You know, I don't want to out blokes and embarrass blokes, but it does happen some blokes. Some blokes, they do wear the scars. And look, I don't know Reece Walsh, I don't know where he goes, but I think it's almost careless to just pretend it's not going to happen. There has to be a concern. Yeah. And the fact that Nathan Brown, his coach, came out and said they shouldn't pick him, and that Phil Gould, who's in charge of the development of the club, wasn't in support of it. They're people who are working daily with him.
Yeah, and they're also self-interested.
Yeah, but they got the same fears that you got, and he's their player, so they're worried about what's going to happen when he comes back to the Warriors. But like Jimmy said about playing for Queensland, like he's going to take his opportunity and you're going to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah, I think it's a calculated risk as well. Queensland and the selectors, they would know that they've got potentially a player here for the best part of a decade, and they'd know that they're going to get him for that long, so they would understand the risks of putting him in too early and all that comes with it.
I don't think they do, Jimmy. I don't think there's been an acknowledgement about long-term development. We need to win this game now, which is why after copying a 50-6 hiding, we're picking this guy.
Yeah, but if you're good enough to play NRL, you're good enough to play Origin. I mean, in terms of age, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you can handle it there, you can go to Origin.
Really, you think?
100%.
I will say I was impressed with the way he handled the media today. It showed water off a duck's back.
There's too much talk about what if it goes bad for him. What if it doesn't?
And can I ask you this, based on the new rules, which I'm starting to think has changed Origin potentially forever, do you think these new rules might make it easier for someone like Reece Walsh to debut in an Origin game?
I don't know if you'd use the word easier. I think there'll be aspects of the game that are probably
better suited to him,
and there'll be aspects of the game that are tougher in terms of the speed when you've got to defend. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword for him in that sense, I believe.
He won't get bashed up like in the old days. In the old days, someone would have just grabbed him, pulled him into a maul and just...
Well, you can imagine on the tip sheets, like every time they kick the ball down to him, the kick return plan is going to be pick him up and drag him back. You know, stop their momentum, pick him up, take him back a few metres. So he's going to have less opportunities to attack in Origin and less space, but the thing with Origin is you have to take your opportunities when you get them. And when you get them, you have to capitalise. And he's that kid who can capitalise with his skill, his smarts, and the way he plays footy, and he's not scared to take on opportunities that other players sometimes are.
So in the lead up to a big game like this, being so young, if you could give him some advice on his prep, what would it be?
Just be who you are, play how you play. And look, he's got arguably the greatest ever fullback who's played for Queensland, Billy Slater, in his corner to lean on and get advice from. And to me, I'd be standing every day with Billy saying, just watch how I train, give me a few tips here and there about what I can do better, and I'm going to go out there and play. So I reckon he'll go good.